Osamu Tezuka begins AstroBoy by asking his readers two questions. Why do humans want mechanical surrogates to do their work, and why are humans so fascinated by their own image? The answer he gives may be the same reason he created AstroBoy in the first place, and that is to improve our lives. We want to make ourselves and the world better. So when we look at something, we think of what it would take to improve it. That is what science and engineering is really about. Why do we want to see ourselves in robots? Because we want to see how we can improve and reach the pinnacle of humanity. So when Tezuka created the characters in AstroBoy, he was really trying to show what it means to be a good human being. The contrast between heroes and villains in AstroBoy shows the reader what it means to be a human. By using the reader's emotional reactions to the various characters, particularly robots, Tezuka shows us what qualities we have to adopt to be a truly great human, qualities such as honor, loyalty, and compassion. In Volume 3 of AstroBoy, The World's Greatest Robot, Tezuka creates a number of excellent characters to interact with, the most interesting being a powerful robot named Pluto. But Pluto was not great because of his power. To understand what makes a robot great in AstroBoy, let us examine what the story labeled as the 7 greatest robots. What made them great? For one, it was their distinct nationality. All of them were from different countries and all of them were very loyal. Secondly, it was their honor and their pride. Specifically, let's look at two examples in Gerhardt and Hercules. On page 52, Gerhardt says that his sense of honor as a robot demands him to try to bring Pluto to a fair trial to be found guilty. And on page 82, Hercules refused to duel Pluto with Epsilon's help because of his sense of honor. Epsilon is my personal favorite character because of the relationship he has with his pupils. The love he demonstrates for those children is certainly not mechanical. He even gave his life to protect them. The contrast between the Sultan and Astro's guardian, Professor Ochanomizu, is an especially important one to note, because there are so few human characters in the manga. We see that the Sultan reflects the opposite of the qualities that makes robots great. He has no nationality precisely because of the dishonor he showed as a leader. On page 86, Professor O says,
Tochi Abba? Seems like I've heard that name before. Isn't he the ruler who squandered the subjects' money by living so high in the hog? And didn't his people rebel and drive him out of the country?
On the other hand, the professor shows the reader compassion through the care he has for both Astro and Uran. His unconditional love for Astro's true self is shown by the fact that he doesn't want him to upgrade his horsepower to 1 million. The Sultan shows the opposite of this compassion by the way he treats his servants. On page 133, a maidservant rushes in to warn him of danger, and the Sultan shows no respect, barely even acknowledging her, saying,
"Oh, what happened, woman? Some soup boil over?"
Similarly, he does not even know his employees well enough to realize that Dr. Abdallah was actually one of his own manservants. AstroBoy is ultimately the world's greatest robot, but there are two other robots who threaten his existence, Pluto and Bora. Bora is more clearly an example of a bad robot because the only reason he lives is to destroy other robots. What makes Astro great is not his horsepower, because Bora is far superior to Astro in terms of strength. On page 21, the professor rebukes Astro for wanting more horsepower.
If it were only about strength, Astro, professional wrestlers would be the most important people in the world, but they aren't. Even a robot with only 100,000 horsepower can be the greatest robot in the world.
Here the professor directly connects robots with humans, and we are told that greatness is about something far more important than strength. We see Astro's greatness through desire to help others. Bora and Pluto are both built to be selfish. That is to say, their sole function is to fight for themselves. One of the first things Astro does after being upgraded to 1 million horsepower can be found on page 149, when he helps lift a massive ship out of the ocean. But greatness shines brightest when it is most needed. The final scene of The Greatest Robot on Earth shows the reader what it takes to be great. As Pluto, Bora, and Astro are about to destroy each other, a volcano begins to erupt that threatens the lives of all the surrounding towns and villages. Astro quickly begins to block the volcanic crater with boulders, but Bora and Pluto do not help. On page 171, Pluto said,
"I was designed to fight. I don't want to waste my energy on anything else."
To which Astro responds,
"You lunkhead, Pluto! How can you call yourself a robot? That's not what robots are for. That's not why you were born."
Bora, on the other hand, can't even answer for himself. The only word he knows is his own name, and every time he says it, gusts of wind come out of his mouth and destroy everything in sight. So Dr. Goji replies for him.
"Unfortunately, Bora's the same. He's only designed to fight."
Professor O responds to this appropriately on page 172.
This is the craziest thing I've ever heard of! We've got two giant robots here, and they're both useless!
But there is more to Pluto's character than being simply evil. The reader is split between his two sides. We hate the side that is designed to exterminate other robots because this side has no honor. After Pluto learns that the sun gives Epsilon power, he waits to fight him until a stormy day, even after Epsilon saved his life. Without the sun, Epsilon would have been no match for Pluto, but still, it is when Epsilon leaves the battle to save a child who had wandered out into the storm that Pluto delivers the finishing blow. Although we want to hate Pluto for his lack of chivalry, there is another side of him as well. Besides his apparent desire for something more than the world domination, as evident from his relations with Iran, Pluto ultimately dies a great robot after he finally chooses to help Astro stop the erupting volcano. Pluto is an excellent character because Tezuka makes it so easy to distinguish what we hate and love about him. By giving us these characters, Tezuka shows us the difference between heroes and villains. What did it take to be the world's greatest robot? Exactly what it takes to be a great human being. Professor O's words represent the actions of a great robot best on page 137.
It doesn't make sense to go around comparing the strength of robots. The greatest robot in the world is really the one that's smart, does the right thing, and works to better the world.